right now at the K2D4 Network store. We have exciting new products available. First, get your morning started right with the new coffee mugs and signature stickers. Check out the amazing new beach towel. Show your support for the broadcast, even while you're at the beach. The signature Talk is Cheap pillow, available in 3 colors: white, black, and the signature orange. Keep it simple with the Talk is Cheap poster, the same background that is used in the show. We also have the new Be the Change tee. Give people the reminder that change begins within. All available right now at the K2D4 Network store. Go to k2d4network.com for more.
Coming up on Talk is Cheap, we're all rich. Any day now, we're going to be set for life. Stay tuned when we talk about it. Good evening. Welcome to another great episode of Talk is Cheap. Want to give a shout out to all the beings on planet Earth and beyond, and not forgetting about you creatures on Mars. Hope you're having a good one. My name is Pete Halbleib, and we're coming from you from the K2D4 studio. And immediately to my right, as always.
Yo. What's up? Dan Hohlfeld.
How's it going, Dano?
Not too bad.
Good. How's life treating you?
You know, we get some ups and some downs. We had some technical ups, or downs, I should say. They weren't ups.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago, we tried to go live, and then the powers that be decided they were gonna not allow us to be going live.
That's the first time that's happened. So now my mind is thinking, okay, is this something I can figure out, or is it gonna happen randomly?
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll. I guess, by the time this airs, I'm hoping that we have some more live shows in the books or something.
Yeah, I want to keep them up. I like the phone calls, like the interaction with the folks. So.
Right. All right. And joining us for a third time in a row, great to have him. Love to see him. Boyd, how's it going, man?
Hey, things are going pretty good.
Good.
Once again, I was disappointed at the live feed, too.
Yeah,
I mean, it was my first time being on a YouTube, and it didn't work. But hopefully I'll be around long enough to
experience it.
Yes,
that's right.
Awesome.
You've been with us. This is the 3rd episode. You're starting to be a regular on the show, and you're kind of getting used to it, I would hope, by now, right? A little bit?
Yeah, the camera shyness is starting to go away a little bit.
On.
So
Good.
I'm getting more comfortable. Thanks a lot.
Exactly. How I fight the camera shyness is I put my favorite cold beverage in one of these Talk is Cheap mugs. Holds beverages great.
Definitely.
I can't recommend it enough. Folks, I also want to say, too, as Dan was doing some post-production on the previous episode, it seemed like I was attacking one of the callers, Ben, a little bit for some of the comments he made. I'd like to apologize, but I'm not. So, Ben, suck it. Again, sorry, still hung up on it. Take that.
We got another phone call. I want to play this.
Awesome.
He's called the show once before. Let's listen. This is Joel from Arizona.
Hey, you guys. This is Joel from Arizona. I'm the guy who gave you guys the, the Area 51.
Area 52.
Idea. I was watching some of your videos, and I just had a few quick, ideas.
Is this more constructive criticism?
Something I would like to see you guys discuss on.
Oh, he's got a good question here.
Why hasn't there been any more discussions on the government releasing the UFO video? You don't hear nothing about that anymore. Like, it's kind of weird. I mean, just in my eyes, how people are kind of blind to the actual government releasing UFO footage and nothing more has happened.
Exactly.
And then, as well, I was hoping, let me just end this one. I'll call back.
That's right.
All right. Have a good day, you guys.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Joel, for putting your two calls in separate sections. That helps me out so much because it's two different ideas. He's going to leave a topic suggestion too that
good.
we may
awesome.
or may not do. So,
Joel, I cannot agree with you more, man.
Exactly.
Are we that much asleep? Are we that much focused on the Kardashians and the crap going on in the political realm that we can't realize a groundbreaking admission by the U.S. entities of the U.S. government?
Back in, what was it, October of 2017, it was basically admitted that our
that was
government...
when it was? Has it been a year already?
It's been about a year. Admitted that the government has been studying UFOs. They put money into these projects to study it. ATEP is the short name for it.
And they released videos showing craft or things doing crazy, crazy stuff.
And it was on these God networks. New York Times covered it. So, I mean, there's your God, folks. Covered it, and now no one's even discussing it. So, what do you think of that, Boyd? Did you read these articles? Did you see this stuff?
I read a little bit about them.
What do you think?
And my own opinion is, they're hiding more than what they want us to know yet. Yeah. So just enough to kind of wet your lips a little, and
for those that are paying attention, right?
Right.
Yeah. Oh man,
exactly.
Joel, you just fired me up because now I'm pissed off about that. Good question.
But I did watch, and if people may have watched that video, if they streamed it live, I was talking about To the Stars Academy and that stuff recently. I think it was a couple weeks ago. Luis Elizondo said, in a year we're gonna have a different discussion. So, do they have something planned? I know that they talked about metamaterials coming out with that and having that testing, and they did show that video of them taking stuff out of the boxes, but it was censored. It's like, come on, let's get some substance here.
Yep. You know, they may have learned too, though, that, you know, they released that and started talking about it. They might have gotten some attention that they didn't want initially. So maybe they've kind of regrouped and are saying, okay, we're going to get together the bombshell and release it. You know, I often mentioned, you know, correlations within the Bigfoot world, and there's a group out of Oklahoma. Well, they're from all over the country, but there are research areas in Oklahoma, the North American Wood Ape Conservancy, and they had been sharing a lot of stuff they were working on, some evidence, I would say, take it for what you will. And the attention they got from the skeptics, the scofftics, people that just went out of their way to attack them, call authorities, tell them they're doing all sorts of illegal stuff. They said, you know what? We're not going to come back out and do anything public until we have the goods. And so they went silent. Maybe this is the same sort of thing. They said, you know what? Let's just slow our roll a little bit, get our package tied up in a nice, neat little bow, and hit us again. And hopefully we'll have enough people woken up to pay attention.
It's all about the evidence.
Yep, it is.
Exactly. So to let you guys know, if you want to leave a voicemail to us, please call in. That's 1-256-510-5234, 1-256-510-K2D4. You can leave a message, topic suggestion. It's all there. We'll play it on the show, and you can interact with us. Try to keep it to a minute or less, obviously, because we don't need a whole conversation going on.
Yeah, dissertation, soliloquy, if you will.
So,
what do we got tonight, huh? You want to know what we're going to talk about? You have anything else you want to talk about? Before that, any plugs? Maybe some more merch plugs? Cool shirt, Dan.
I think people are getting sick of the plugs, but real quickly.
Yeah. T-shirt.
Simple disclosure /now. It kind of reminds me of the Got Milk shirt.
Oh, a little bit, yeah.
But it's cool.
That's cool.
And also, support us. The links are down below. I'm not going to mention them all. They're down there if you want to support us. We appreciate it. YouTube takes us down. It's good to have that backup income, and then we can still go on those other platforms.
Yeah, it all costs money, Dano. So, you know, in the lead-in, I said, hey, we're all set for life. We're going to be rich beyond our wildest dreams and be able to do anything we want through a redistribution of wealth. You've heard that term before, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. What if I don't want to be rich?
Yeah, well, then you can give any extra income or finances you have, you can give to me. I'll be more than happy to take them.
It can happen.
I'll put them to good use, I promise.
Sounds good.
And it only makes common sense.
Right? Yeah, it only makes common sense. You don't want your money? Send it to me, and I'll help support the network as well with that. This topic that we're going to talk about was submitted by viewer and contributor Jamie Crawford. It's Nesara or Gesara, however you want to pronounce it. and that's an acronym, okay? It stands for the National Economic Security and Reformation Act, and you'll see Gesara as well, the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act. Now, these terms are interchangeable. When you dig into it, you'll also find out about the dinar, RV, or revalue. They talk about that a lot.
So this is interesting because I've heard about this before, and it's like, if this can happen,
it can happen.
It'll be amazing.
It'll be amazing. So in short, what this is, the National Economic Security and Reformation Act, if it is actually enacted, it will free the world of debt and slavery to the banks. Now, Dan, you remember a while ago now, we did an episode on how we're slaves, there's a different type of slavery today.
The money slavery
system. And we're slaves to the banks, or slaves to the dollar, okay?
Mexico.
If you haven't seen that episode, go look in the archives, man. It's pretty eye-opening. It was pretty eye-opening to me, and how they shifted slavery from, you know, your traditional sense into more of a modern day slavery.
It's not in your face slavery. You're just in the system, and I've been thinking about a lot lately. You just want to rip your hair out because you get sick of how the system works.
You can't hardly function in today's society without some sort of U.S.-backed dollar floating around. It's crazy. And so what, you know, we work 40, 50 years of our life making other people rich, putting money in the government for, you know, the war machine and black projects and social manipulation and stuff.
You could get a lot of money and go down to Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico rich or something they call that, something like that. Anyway, so what is Nesara? Well, it's a set of proposed economic reforms suggested during the 1990s by Harvey Francis Barnard. Barnard claimed that the proposals, which included replacing the income tax with a national sales tax, abolishing compound interest on secured loans, and returning to a bimetallic currency, which basically means, you know, gold backed by gold or silver, it would result in 0% inflation and a more stable economy. In 1996, he came out with a book called Draining the Swamp, Monetary and Fiscal Policy Reform. Draining the swamp. Boy, you've heard that term recently, haven't you? Huh?
And it only makes common sense.
The current leadership in the U.S., love him or hate him, you know, there's a lot of people that believe that he's in there to take out the deep state, you know, the ruling cabal and stuff like that. And that's That's why he's so hated by certain people, is that, you know, among other things, but he's in there and he's going to shake it up and take down the old guard, if you will.
What I say is what I say.
Oh, yes, it is. Thanks, Donald. He did have a second edition of his book in 2005. He retitled it Draining the Swamp, The Nesara Story, Monetary and Fiscal Policy Reform. That's what I got from Wikipedia, okay, and a couple other websites I went to. There's tons of information on this. That's what I got there. But then I also came across a website that explained the origin like this. In early 1993, now remember Harvey Barnard, it was suggested in the 90s, okay? So in 1993, this is the other version, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled on charges by the Farmers Union that banks in the U.S. were fraudulently foreclosing on farm mortgages and that the U.S. government was in collusion with these banks. Surprise, ding, surprise. Ding. Yeah, hit it. Where's the ding? There it is. There it is. Oh, what do you know? The U.S. government's in collusion with banks. Surprise, surprise, okay? Okay.
It's all happening.
There was allegedly some testimony and proof brought into court by a retired CIA agent that led to further evidence and proof that the Farmers Union's claims were legitimate. It also led to evidence the income tax amendment was never properly ratified by the required number of states, and therefore income taxes were unlawful. All right. Okay, now, allegedly, almost unanimously, the U.S. Supreme Court justices ruled in favor of the Farmers Union. The justices recognized that overwhelming evidence proved the U.S. government and the Federal Reserve banking system were perpetrating fraud in many ways upon Americans. This really shouldn't be that much surprise to anybody, that part of what I'm saying, okay? So I'm hoping we're still all on the same page here, okay? They said that they needed to fix this and massive reformations would be required. So Rulings are made by the U.S. Supreme Court. One or more justices are assigned to monitor a process by which rulings are carried out. Okay. In this case, 5 justices were assigned to a committee to develop these steps. All right. The justices built coalitions of support and assistance with thousands of people worldwide, and these people were known as the White Knights. Okay. The term white knights was borrowed from the world of big business when a vulnerable company is rescued from a hostile takeover by a white knight corporation or wealthy person. Some philanthropist. Thank you. Oh, Ben is going to have a field day with that one.
Yeah, that works.
You know, will come in and scoop up so that the major corporations don't buy a company, you know, and stuff like that. So these people fighting to bring Americans and the world the benefits of Nesara and to rescue people from our government and the banking fraud, they deserve to be called white knights, right? Okay. So the first thing I said, okay, so we had 5 justices in the 90s that supposedly made up this committee to determine this. I could not find any names of these alleged justices, and they never actually named who it was that did this. That was a little bit of a flag for me. Okay, who are these 5 justices?
You're right, because I heard this was gonna, like, they had this stuff in place to go through and
bring this to fruition. And I'll tell how. After we go through this, I've got a little story on how they allegedly got this bill passed. Okay, and then the story about, oh, it's supposed to be enacted, it doesn't. Because of this. Okay, it's going to be enacted here, it never happens. Oh, this happened.
Right.
So there's a series of promises and excuses that are associated with this. So, folks out there, here's the list. If you just want to scroll slowly: Harry Blackman, John Paul Stevens. Sorry, I missed the J. Sandra Day O'Connor, Iliam Rehnquist, and Antonin Scalia, Anthony Kennedy, David Souter.
There you go, mispronouncing stuff again.
Yeah, well, that's a name, though. That's tough. So, Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas.
Scroll down. Yeah.
Oh, you know, he was with the whole thing with him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. With the sexual harassment.
The Long Dong Silver.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for taking us that route, Dan.
Long Dong.
Yes.
Read it 3 times before he finally bought it.
Long Dong Silver. He read it that 3 times before he finally bought it. He never read a video about woman to woman.
I'm going to stop you on that. It's getting a little bit too.
Okay, moving on. Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Stephen Breyer. These are all of the Supreme Court justices that were in holding their office during the 90s. Okay, you can see on Clarence Thomas, October 15th, 1991. He was sworn in, and he's actually still in there. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If anybody out there has any idea of who these might be that you've heard comments or something, I'd love to hear about it in our comments. Post something or post links, because I need to do a little more digging there. I couldn't find any more information. Okay, so those were the 2 versions. Harvey Barnard, which Wikipedia says is the brainchild, but then apparently these 5 justices came up with it. So already we're muddled a little bit, right? So, the National Economic Security and Reformation Act allegedly was changed to the Security and Recovery Act with provisions. It was allegedly passed in a secret session in March 2000 and signed by Bill Clinton in October. House chambers were lined with Navy SEALs and Delta Force members with orders to kill if the bill wasn't passed.
Wow.
Okay.
That's insane.
So that's a huge claim there, right? Any proof? There's no photos. I couldn't find any videos. Anybody that claims that this actually happened, right? But it's a great story on the internet so far. It was met with repeated attempts to postpone or otherwise stop the implementation of the act. It was originally planned on being implemented on September 11th, 2001.
That is interesting.
Yeah, right. So anyway, okay, it's supposed to be implemented here, but wait a minute. The World Trade Center attacks, all of this stuff was supposed to happen on the second floor of the World Trade Center.
Donald Rumsfeld the day before talking about how many trillions we lost.
Yeah, yep.
That would have been perfect.
Yep. So anyway, supposedly that was the first failed attempt. And then a series of gag orders were issued by the Supreme Court that, threatened treason against anybody that was going to talk about this. And then the government, our official government claims no such bill was ever introduced or passed. So they're saying, there's no bill, So part of it is, if it's completely made up, of course, that's the truth, right? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, there was a bill introduced that we were going to turn every horse into unicorns. You can say whatever you want, but back it up, right?
Right.
Again, great story so far, but I haven't found any proof, okay? Various groups have claimed repeatedly over the years that a public announcement would be forthcoming. I think that the most prominent or most known person that really was the head cheerleader of this was a user by the name of Dove of Oneness, and it was Jamie something or other, I forget. And she was out there on these blogs and websites and stuff, and people were following her. And of course, hey, send us money in the meantime, right? But how it worked was, allegedly, there is a prosperity fund out there, the Saint Germain Trust. When you look into this, you also hear about the Omega Trust as well. But basically, there is some secret account somewhere that's got gold, silver, valuables that are valued at 1 with 40 zeros following it dollars. Okay. So we're way past trillions. We're like, what was it? It was a crazy one. It's,
Googleplex or something like that.
Yeah. So basically, a trillion is however many zeros. Now just imagine a 1 with 40 zeros. And supposedly there's that fund, the Saint Germain Fund, that is out there waiting to be redistributed to everybody on the planet. That's going to bring down the banks, give everybody equal footing, millions of dollars for everybody to do what they want with, okay? There would be a lot of people quitting jobs.
That's the thing, and then you'd have the economic chaos.
Ensued in that. And that's probably one of the reasons why they don't want to do this, right? Well, besides the power and the redistribution altogether. And when you look into this, you find lots of places that you can print out or purchase vouchers. Hey, spend $100 on this voucher. And when this act finally gets enacted, it's going to be worth $12 million if you have one of these vouchers. So it's in the back of my mind so far, I'm thinking scam, scam, scam. That's what I'm thinking of. It's hard to believe, so far. But and Saint Germain was the patron saint of being able to create like diamonds and valuables out of nothing and stuff. Okay, so that's interesting too. The Dove of Oneness, she passed away in 2010. She, over the end of her life, she had multiple lawsuits against her for fraud. The IRS was trying to come after her, and she was nailed for fraud and stuff. But okay, Nesara / Gesara, what if this gets enacted? Supposedly what's the meat and potatoes here? What are we going to get out of it? I do have a list of some items here, 17 items that this act allegedly does. All right.
Great.
So Nesara implements the following changes. It zeroes out all credit card, mortgage, and other bank debt due to illegal banking and government activities.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, right? Are we on board with this so far? That sounds pretty good, right?
Definitely.
I would agree that the government is and Federal Reserve Bank has done their fair share their fair share of illegal activities as it comes to screwing over people and their finances.
I'll be so glad when that Federation, well, it's not even federal or reserve, but when it's gone,
it needs to go.
Cut the head of the beast off.
It abolishes all income tax, which was determined to be illegally implemented in the first place. It abolishes the IRS. Can we get a round of applause for that? Yay. Get out of here. Get out of here, IRS. It creates a 14% flat rate on non-essential new items only, sales tax revenue for government. So basically, non-essential new items. You want to go out and buy a Porsche? Sorry, you're going to pay 14% tax on that, right?
Which is pretty high, right? What is the normal?
Well, if you have no income tax, which you're taking 30% off your paycheck right now, right? I would be much more apt to pay 14% on luxury items,
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. You'd save.
So Okay, it increases benefits to senior citizens. This is pretty in today's discussion here in America, at least. That's a big thing, as they're talking about gutting Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Returns constitutional law to all of our courts and legal matters, which then apparently means all current politicians will immediately be recused of their positions, including the president, VP, Congress, and all 50 governors of states. So it removes the heads, all the political heads that are currently controlling our country. So remember, this was allegedly passed under Delta Force and Navy SEAL, threat of killing, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know who gave that order, but okay. It establishes new presidential and congressional elections within 120 days after Nesara's announcement. It monitors elections and prevents illegal election activities of special interest groups. I can get behind that one, right? Get rid of the special interest groups altogether.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yep. It creates new U.S. Treasury currency called the rainbow currency.
Oh, this is what I've been talking about.
Backed by gold, silver, and platinum precious metals. Google rainbow currency wants to do some reading in there. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like a precursor to cryptocurrency.
Well, yeah, it's hard to say what it was because I asked James Gilliland was on the show. I asked him, and he said it was both digital and paper.
Yeah.
So it was maybe that part of that transition.
Yep. And it's backed by real gold, silver, and platinum. If you look at our activity in the Middle East, and you look at over the years the dictators we've overthrown and the countries we've gone into, it's a lot of them are countries that are trying to back their currency with actual gold and silver. The World Bank hates that. Wait a minute, you're not going to come and get money from us that we just make up and charge you interest on. You're going to actually back it by gold. We don't like that. We're going to find WMDs in there.
Yeah, make up some Looney Tunes story and come in make sure that we can gut everybody out from limb to limb.
Completely level your cities, and you got bigger problems to worry about. Okay, it also initiates a new U.S. Treasury bank system in alignment with the constitutional law. It eliminates the Federal Reserve System. Yes, right? So far, we're doing pretty good here, aren't we?
Oh, yes.
It restores financial privacy. Retrains all judges and attorneys in constitutional law. Ceases all aggressive U.S. government military actions worldwide. I can get behind that one. I have for decades felt that we are a warmongering machine for the business interests of America. We need to stop that crap.
Yeah, for sure.
It establishes peace throughout the world, right? If all the wealth's redistributed, why do we need to go after other people's wealth? Initiates the first phase of the worldwide prosperity distribution of vast wealth, which has been accumulating for many decades. That the law requires that the farmer claims to be paid first before the general public receives funds. So basically, going back to this other farmer claim issue, that first off we're going to pay all those farmers back, and then the rest will be public will get the funds. Remember, it's a 1 followed by 40 zeros. We got a lot of money to play with here.
A long ways to go.
Yeah, obviously it releases enormous sums of money for humanitarian purposes, and it enables the release of new technologies such as free energy, pollution cleanup, and sonic healing machines. Okay,
oh, yes.
What do you think?
Oh yeah.
Can we get behind something like that?
I can get behind it.
Definitely. Guys, like I said before, man, I looked on that. There's a lot of great stories on there, but good luck finding any declassified document that would even reference it. When we talk about Project Bluebeam and Operation Northwoods and stuff, we're actually finding government documents and some sort of evidence that this stuff was going on. Jamie, I feel that this is a good story. When you dig into it, I get this vibe of charlatanism. I hope you're not too ticked at me, but I'd love to, if you have some smoking gun in there, I'd love to hear about it. Because I can't find anything but some good stories on a few websites.
That's right.
Well, my thing is with this, if you go back and look, I don't know if you said a date. Did I miss it when this got enacted?
It didn't ever get enacted. Allegedly, it was signed into law in 2000 by Bill Clinton.
So a while ago.
Yeah,
it's like
18 years.
Yeah, I mean, this stuff they've had this in in the plans to happen, and they don't do it. There's always some excuse, and you always hear it's going to happen next month. It's going to happen next month.
Yeah.
Nothing.
How many times in other realms do we hear that? That's happened in the Sasquatch world. I don't know how many times it's happening in a lot of this stuff that we discuss. The awakening. When is the vibrations going to be big enough to make the shift? Oh, it's going to be 2016. It's going to be 2018.
This is 1988.
This is 1988. So I love the premise of it. I mean, I think I'm on board for that. I'd love to see it happen, but Dan, you did make a good point earlier too. What happens when everybody gets the money and then we stop working? Then what? Who's going to do that?
What's the incentive?
Exactly, incentive.
Yeah. Maybe they're holding off and waiting for technology to catch up. You often said eventually there's not going to be work for people because it's going to be taken over by automation.
If we get so far advanced, there will be no need for money. Really, that's where.
Yeah, at that point, do you need... Well, someone's got it. Well, no, they don't.
Well, and they talk about the stuff in these secret space programs where you can have like a microwave, dial in what you want for food. You don't have to worry about the farmers raking the fields or anything. I mean, they'll just incinerate your food from the atoms.
Atoms, yeah. You just have a big lump of carbon and, whatever. You just have the raw elements. They can pull what they need to make food and stuff like that.
I feel sorry for your mother.
Sorry, fellas. I want to go back in time. I'll go back to the one episode that we were talking about with the teleportation. So if something like this ever happens, I'm going to go back in time.
Yep.
If the technology is there.
If the technology is there.
To make money, or what are you saying?
No, money isn't money.
To slow your life down.
Money isn't everything.
Go back to the old days,
folks. Money ain't everything. Happiness is worth more than money will ever be.
To go out and maybe head out west and carve your living out of the land, and of course bring a little of that future technology with you. It'd be nice to have
a little bit.
Nice to have a John Deere lawnmower or something with you, So.
Oh yeah, you gotta have some.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. So, again, a lot of reading to do on this. I love where it's coming from and the idea behind it, and a lot of this stuff. When you look at those 17 items. A lot of discussion happens about, pieces of that. The eliminating the Federal Reserve is not a new topic of discussion. That was, being discussed shortly after the Federal Reserve was created.
I'm just surprised it's still around.
Yep, the income tax discussion. Well, when you have the government in bed with the banks, what are you going to do, right?
It's all about the money, honey.
It is, unfortunately. We got to break through that and get through it. So I know it's a short episode, but Jamie, I hope that we did you justice. And for those that are viewing, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let's hear it. That's what I got. Thanks for joining us.
See you later on Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk, said everybody.
And talk is cheap.